Welcome to Small Remarks, where now you might be able to get gay married. But can you vote? So we are filming this shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court announced that the Defense of Marriage Act is unconstitutional. And that sound you hear is the sound of cultural conservative heads all over America exploding. It's a watershed moment for gay rights. It's a watershed moment for anyone who believes in basic equality for all Americans. All Americans. It's a good day. But let's not get overcarried away here, because we remember the Supreme Court issued a few other decisions this week, including a landmark one that eviscerates the 1965 Voting Rights Act. This one would permit states with a history of discrimination to go ahead and change the way they do elections without federal oversight. The rationale here being that times have changed, but the states, of course, immediately showed that times haven't changed. You had Texas and a number of other southern states scrambling to implement voter ID laws and other schemes that'll help prevent those people from going to the polls. And so, of the two decisions here, gay marriage and voting rights, which is most important in terms of the long-term outlook for the country? A generation from now, I think we're all going to look back on the era when gay marriage was illegal as a historical freak show. It'll be like you and me looking back on the era of desegregation and saying, what was that all about? Gay marriage will seem like a sort of like an irresistible force, an inevitable victory, because the lines were so clearly drawn. On one side, you had people who simply wanted equality of opportunity, and on the other side, you had discrimination. And there's a lot of nuances to it, but basically those were the lines. The moral case was almost exactly the same as the case for the civil rights movement a few generations ago. So this decision then validates the promise of America, but the voting rights decision desecrates it. The voting rights decision basically gives free hand to intimidate and ultimately discourage voters, people who might go to the polls and vote for the wrong people. They might encounter long lines. Some people might not vote as a result of that. Some people might decide they're not going to bother to show up at all as a result of that. And if that happens, maybe you can disenfranchise entire communities. You can have them have less of a say in the political process so that you can ensure that the right people, i.e. Republicans, continue to run the show the way they want to run the show. And so couple this with some other decisions the court's made, like Citizens United, because corporations are people too, and you see that gay marriage is a nice victory and it's a moral victory, but in the long run what we're doing is creating a system whereby you can marry whomever you want, but the political process is bought and paid for, and specific attempts are made to disenfranchise those who might vote for the candidates who might challenge that system. We'll have a country that's culturally progressive, but one that's electorally and economically regressive. You keep your eye on the shiny gay ball over here. Don't watch the sausage making over here. I'm not trying to diminish the significance of the DOMA decision. It's a huge decision. It's hugely important. It's a huge victory for equality in this country. All I'm saying is, we got a long way to go.